The mitochondria, which is one that you might already know, is really complicated in its structure because of how important everything about it is. So the mitochondria has something called cristae, which is if you look at a picture of a mitochondria, it's those little squiggly snake lines in there. It makes more space for cellular respiration to happen to make each cell more efficient. So there are outer and inner membranes. The intermembrane is responsible for proton pumps, and the inner membrane is responsible for oxidative phosphorylation. The mitochondrial matrix is where the Krebs cycle happens, which you need to know for cellular respiration, obviously. The mitochondria is a part of the cell that's so important and cool to scientists because there's a lot of people who think that mitochondria themselves used to be prokaryotes. So they have RNA and DNA within them, and they're called plasmids. And any DNA that's inside a mitochondria will be passed down from the mother. Next is the chloroplast. This is another double-membraned organelle. Important thing about chloroplasts, they are only in plant cells, not human, not animal cells, only plant ones. What you need to know about chloroplasts is the structure of the insides because of how important and specialized each part is. The thylakoid will be the most important because that is where photosynthesis happens. The electron transport chain and photophosphorylation happens in the thylakoid. That's also called ATP synthase. In the granum, which is those stacks of circles you see inside of a chloroplast, that is where the light dependent reactions happen, and the granum tend to hold and kind of store a lot of ions. The lamella connect the stacks of granum together. Finally, the stroma, which is what regulates the pH of a chloroplast and ensures that light dependent reactions can happen. Chloroplasts are cool just like the mitochondria are, and their double membrane is proof that cyanobacteria once existed. Next up is lysosomes, which are membrane-bound organelles. Lysosomes contain hydrolytic enzymes, which breaks apart bacteria in food so that it's usable. Lysosomes fuse with food vacuoles in a process called phagocytosis. Lysosomes recycle cell material and begin the process of apoptosis, which is cell death. Last but not least is the vacuole. The vacuole is simple, but it's very important. Even in Unit 1, when you learned about turgor pressure, which is what brings water upwards, the water pressure inside of a vacuole is what causes turgor pressure. Vacuole is just a basic membrane-bound sac so that it can hold water inside and keep other things out. Vacuole is something called a contractive organelle, which means it uses osmoregulation to contract once it has enough water in it so that it can keep everything out. And that is all for Unit 2. Hope you learned something.